India speaks up right after billionaire George Soros criticizes PM Narendra Modi. Soros' speech at the Munich Security Conference drew sharp reactions from Indian officials and citizens.
Old, rich, opinionated person sitting in New York who still thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works.
Dr. S. Jaishankar put Soros in place, calling him a dangerous person who is scaremongering. What did George Soros say? How did India react? And is George Soros dangerous? These are the core questions. Hello and welcome to The Core Questions. George Soros is 92 years old and one of the most successful investors in American history with a net worth of 670 crore US dollars or roughly 8.5 billion US dollars. What did George Soros say? In a speech in Germany, George Soros elaborated that the uproar over Indian businessman Gautam Adani's business empire may weaken PM Modi's, and I quote, stranglehold on India's federal government and open the door to push for much-needed institutional reforms. Soros said, "I may be naive, but I believe India will experience a democratic revival." How has India reacted? In response to Soros' comments, India's ruling party, the BJP, stated objectively that George Soros was not only directly targeting the Prime Minister of India, but also the Indian democratic system as a whole. True, the Adani Group has been put under intense scrutiny, but the investigation is still ongoing. While the slump in 10 Adani companies has wiped off more than 130 billion US dollars from their combined market value since the publication of the Hindenburg report, the Sensex is continuing its upward journey and is less than 4% away from a record high reached in December and is trading at an 89% premium to the MSCI Emerging Markets Index on earnings-based valuations. This means that Soros is simply making assumptions here without providing substantive evidence. And ironically, while Soros is commenting on the unethicalness of Modi and Adani's close relationship, let's not forget that George Soros has invested over 128 million US dollars since January 2021 to Democratic candidates and causes. Furthermore, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar stated that Soros is a dangerous person who is sitting in New York and is essentially an outsider interfering in Indian politics, as India has experienced during colonial times.
Mr. Soros is a old, rich, opinionated person sitting in New York who still thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works. Now, if I could only stop at old, rich and opinionated, I would put it away. But he is old, rich, opinionated and dangerous.
Jaishankar went on to say that what makes people like George Soros dangerous is that he invests in creating a false anti-India narrative under the guise of advocating for an open society. Smriti Irani, an Indian Union minister, also stated that Soros had, and I quote, ill intentions to intervene in India's democratic process and desired a government that is pliable to his needs.
A man who is known and designated so by a nation as an economic war criminal has now pronounced his desire to break the Indian democracy.
But why is India of interest to George Soros, an American billionaire? According to Kanchan Gupta, senior advisor to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, India has many enemies, with George Soros leading the pack. Gupta also stated that Soros collaborated with people and parties on multiple occasions to attempt a regime change and depose PM Modi. Soros, according to Minister Smriti Irani, only wants to harm India's democratic structure. She said that Soros has stated that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be his primary target and that Soros will defend his own interests in India. George Soros provided scholarships and fellowships to Indian students through his Open Society Foundation. But at the same time, Soros, in the name of philanthropic activities, actively supported anti-India elements operating within India. Which brings me to my next point. Is George Soros dangerous? What's suspicious is that Soros spoke at the Munich Security Conference, which is a platform for discussing global security challenges, peace, and stability. So why is Soros even mentioning PM Modi and the Indian Parliament there? It's completely unrelated. It's not the first time that Soros has made anti-India remarks either. In fact, Soros has a strong presence in Indian media. For many years, his Open Society Foundation has supported a number of public figures and organizations that have spread false narratives about the current government. Basharat Peer, for example, consistently promotes a pro-Pakistani narrative in Kashmir. From 2009 to 2010, Peer was an Open Society Fellow. Soros' foundation also contributed $1.3 million to the Poynter Institute's international fact-checking network, which has been chastised for its bias. Perhaps that's why Dr. Jaishankar's response to George Soros' comments was so sharp. Jaishankar made these remarks while on a visit to Sydney, Australia, where he met Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Foreign Minister Penny Wong to discuss bilateral strategic partnership, economic opportunities, and people-to-people ties.
Essentially, Mr. Soros said India is a democratic country, but he doesn't think the Prime Minister of India is a Democrat.
According to Jaishankar, India consistently records unprecedented voter turnout and decisive electoral outcomes during election cycles.
By the way, a few years ago, in the same conference, I was there at that time, he actually accused us of planning to strip millions of Muslims of their citizenship. If you do this kind of scaremongering, like millions of people will be deprived of citizenship, it actually does real damage to our societal fabric.
And comments like the ones George Soros made are dangerous because it is unneeded outside interference. Thanks for watching the Core Questions by the Times of India. Be sure to leave your comments below and also like and share this video. Until next time, this is Priyanka Deo signing off. Namaste.